Welcome back to the Iron Insight. Start your week off right with the Iron Insight every Monday morning at 4 a.m. I'm your host, and I'm joined today by my co-host.
Andrew Nichols with Southern Leatherworks, and today we have a Mr. Bob Moffatt. Mr. Bob, how are you doing today?
Oi, how you guys doing?
Oh,
Good to
we're
be
doing
here.
all right.
Good,
Appreciate
yeah.
the invite.
Yeah, no problem. I was surprised we got you, friggin' legend.
Well,
And
who
what
did ask me?
me?
No, Brent called me. He said, "Dude, you're never gonna guess." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Guess who we got on for this Saturday?" And I couldn't guess. He's like, "Dude, we got Bob Moffatt." And I called bullshit, but he kept
Yeah,
telling me he wasn't lying. And well, here we are. So.
you're like Eddie Murphy. Get the fuck out of here! Huh?
And
I'm sorry
me
for
and
the F
Bob are
bomb.
even.
I hate it when I do that.
Oh, that's fine. This podcast, anything flies.
Anything
Um,
flies.
Me and Bob are even matching up in Smoke
Yep.
Welding Apparel shirts.
Shout out to them.
Yep. I got this one at Chicago Fab Tech at the Hard Rock Cafe deal. Mr. Bob, you weren't there.
Was that last year or no? Chicago
Y-
Fab Tech at Harvard. Oh yeah, I was there. Not this past
2020. Yeah, this past year is when I got it.
20 2023.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't attend because I was up north working for the guy that no pays.
Mm. Bob, how many years were you with Well.com?
Oh man. Huh. Well, that's a good question because Well.com was started in the fall of 2011, I believe. I did my first video with them in the spring of 2012, and off and on, I made videos throughout the years as a kind of appearance there because the original host lived about 10 miles from me, so he would come
Mm.
in there occasionally with the crew. Uh, so I'd say from 2012 to God, was it 2000 or 2020? I believe it was.
Huh. And so 2020 you stopped. Um,
Well,
ha-
yeah, I kind of there was some things going on in the background there with the management per se,
oh,
uh, and I just had to write a nice letter and say, excuse me. So it's essentially what it was.
yeah.
He
And
didn't
you
he
were.
didn't want me as host anyway. I mean, this
Oh,
particular person, he didn't like my identity, didn't like anything I was doing, he didn't know what I was doing. So building the channel is what we were doing
huh.
anyway.
How long were you? You taught at Cali Community College, right? In Arkansas City, Kansas.
Yes, I was with
How long?
Callie. I started in the fall of 1996.
Huh. Dang.
Were you born yet?
No, 2004.
No,
Are you kidding me? You
2002.
weren't. Dang, man, you weren't even a gleam in somebody's eye when I started there. But I had actually been teaching since 1986.
Huh.
10 years after I graduated Pioneer Tech, uh, I started teaching night classes for them. I'm still working, by the way. Don't you know? I've heard this BS about yeah he teaches because he can't do or whatever. I just laugh at that. Those people that say that are usually the ones I work circles around all day long. I've met 100 just like them. They all got the same excuse. They, so anyway, yeah, I started teaching at night in 1986. I taught Pioneer Tech, the school that I graduated from in northern Oklahoma, Ponca City, by the way. And see, history-wise, I don't know. I see, I moved out to Vegas about 1991, two, somewhere in there. Another line of business altogether. And anyway, when I came back, uh, I was roofing houses for a while. I roofed about 200 homes, custom homes mainly, and then there were some Indian homes around here in northern Oklahoma on contract that we did. I was kind of waiting on some pipe welding jobs to open up, and one of them did up here at Strother Manufacturing up north of me. And I'd worked for them before. They were Strother's Thermoflood back in the day. Interesting place. They built gigantic boilers, and we were building 150,000 pound direct fired boilers, 8-inch coil. A lot of our stuff had 8-inch coil, radiant coil. Uh, but they were monsters. They were shoot, 75 feet long. They were huge, 15 feet in diameter, insulated. It had the coil, the convection boxes, all that stuff. When it left the yard, these guys would pull in with $1 million truck, look like a piss ant hauling loaf of bread when they left. These things dwarf the cab. They're 15 sets of axles on a lowboy. Back two are steerable.
Oh,
Yeah, back two axles are steerable. And they'd get out on the separated 4 lane out front of this shop that I'm at. It's by GE Engine Services. Brent, I think you know where that's at. You've driven by it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get out there on that 4 lane. They kind of lean a little bit, and I'm going, I can't watch. It looks like it's going to fall over, you know. And they either truck them down to Puerto Catoosa, put them on a barge, which now they look small when they get in the barge, or they truck them wherever they're supposed to go. I think it took, we built 2 of them for Chevron in Ohio. I think it took them a month to truck them up there.
Huh.
A
Are you?
month from here to, because of all the special routes and permits and all that. But they're
jeez.
monster builds. 2 of us in final assembly build those things.
Oh man.
Sheesh.
2 of us in final assembly. So it's quite the deal. And
Are you?
but I was working there when I applied for the position at the college in '96. The fall of '96 is when I started. Uh, I taught doing night classes, and my negotiation with them was, if it opens up into a full-time program, I want it. And of course, they couldn't give me any guarantees. So, but it opened up, and I started there in fall of '96, night classing, and I guess fall semester of '97 full time.
Are you from that southern Kansas, northern Oklahoma area?
Yes, I grew up. I was born in Oklahoma City. Oops, that's some valuable information. If somebody wants to copy my crap. Uh, Born in Oklahoma City. My dad was with Sunray Oil back in the day. He was a geologist and petroleum engineer. And I actually grew up in Pawhuska, Oklahoma, Osage County.
Mm.
And at the ripe age of 10, I guess it was, we moved from Pawhuska over to Ponca City. My dad retired from Sunray at that time and started his independent oil business out of the house. And all the production was clear back over in Osage County. But yeah, I grew up around Ponca City, graduated there, went to Northern Oklahoma College for drafting and design, went to Oregon Institute of Technology for welding. And so I had Pioneer Tech, I did welding, NOC, Northern Oklahoma, and in Talkawah, Oklahoma, I did drafting and design, and then a 4-year school at Oregon Tech, and worked as a
Let,
millwright when I was out there. So
so you
yeah,
went to school in Oregon. Is that about the time when you got that job for that realtor, staying in a bunch of different houses?
it is. Man, that was a crappy. Why you got to bring that up? That's a crappy job. You know, I hated that job. God, that was humiliating. I had to. Yeah, that was Northern California, Southern Oregon, and I had to caretake these people's property, ranch homes and stuff. I had to ride their horses, and mow their yard, and swim in their swimming pool, and live in their mansions and crap like that. It was, I hated it. It's
Why?
pretty tough, you know. You go out and go to a club or something. You meet a good looking girl and get to talking and everything. And, you know, one thing leads to another. And you get out of there and go for a drive. I'm going to check on the property. Drive up this driveway, this mansion, you know, out in the forest. You live here? Well, I wasn't lying. I said, yeah, I live here. Under my breath, I said, this week. I mean, you know. Yeah, that was a fun job, really. And this lady, I knew her and her daughter. Her daughter lived down by Los Gatos. Another friend of mine lived down there, my parents' friend, Los Gatos, California. Uh, Her husband was a timber cruiser and a surveyor, and he moved his business up to Anchorage, Alaska. So I helped her close out all of her real estate holdings there in Southern Oregon, and actually helped her move to Anchorage. Put her car on the barge at SeaTac and flew up there with her and got her settled in. And And I was looking for a job at the time. That was the wrong time to be there. Whew, that was brutal. 1983. Were you born yet?
No.
Anyway, 1983. That was a pretty bad recession all over the place. And being in Alaska, I don't know, it was weird. You go in and interviewing with guys at a job application, and of course they want you to have Alaska experience. Well, wait a minute. You're from Texas. Where in the hell did you get your Alaska experience? Golly. Anyway, that was just kind of a bad time. I
On the
drove back down here. I drove a guy's truck back from Anchorage, drove it back to Portland, Oregon.
huh.
That was a fun drive. I'm telling you, that's a long haul.
On the phone, you said you're thinking about moving out of Arc City. Why is that?
I don't like it here.
I love it.
I
Maybe,
don't
maybe,
like it here. I mean, it's
maybe
kind of fun to visit and everything. But I mean, west of here, the state tree's a telephone pole. Uh, East of here, you got some rolling hills and stuff. It's yeah. It I don't know. It's just I just want to get out of here. I want to go settle in somewhere. I want a Quonset hut deep in the woods.
the better question is, what haven't you covered?
What haven't I covered specifically and formally is aircraft.
Mm,
I think I've done everything else. I don't know. I've done oil field. I've done structural. I've done piping, high pressure piping. I've done refinery piping. I've done cross country piping. A
aerospace?
lot of code work. A lot of non code work.
Yeah. Was it sad retiring at Cali?
Was it what?
Sad retiring at Cali?
Uh, yeah, kind of. But I could ride. I could read the writing on the wall. I mean, gee whiz. This is National Welding Month, right?
Yep.
In 2020, I was tasked with a project with ESOB. Myself, Jody Collier, Ian Johnson were tasked with. No, I'm backing up here. That's wrong. That's wrong. No, National Welding Month of that particular year was a a project where Ian would take a week and I'd take a week. It was a Thursday at noon show, I believe, and it was we just do our thing live on Facebook. Okay, and as we're talking about that with the ESOP folks, I said a million, and somebody from me, they said what? I said a million. Want a million? Want a million views out of this as a goal. That was my goal. Guess what we got? Right about a million
Yeah.
for the entire month. So he took a week, I took the next week. He took a week, I took the next week, and then at the end we kind of we didn't do a combined, but we did a one after the other thing, and it was interesting. It was interesting.
How'd you hook up with Edge Welding Cups?
Hook up with what?
Edge Welding Cups.
Welding coach.
Edge Welding Cups?
Oh, Edge welding cups. My bad,
Yeah.
my bad. I couldn't hear what
You,
you're saying.
you're good.
Uh, well, I think I reviewed, or I had somebody bring up some of their first generation stuff, and I had commented on it, and Stacy called me back, and we were talking. I gave her my take on what I was seeing with the first gen stuff, and it was, I don't know, sometime later she contacted me again and said, "Would you mind giving us feedback on this stuff? We send it to you." Yeah, not a problem. Uh, I'm going to do it probably over my Christmas break where I can have time and you know study it and whatnot. And that was one of those Christmas breaks where all hell broke loose. I had all kinds of stuff going on I was trying to fix. And anyway, I did get around to it. I did send photos. I did send a lot of stuff, and there was a distraction during that whole process. Uh, but anyway, she asked me to come on board, and yeah, let's do it.
Huh. So when you go to FabTech, what's that like being Bob Moffatt at FabTech? I mean, you're like the Bob Ross of welding.
Um, I don't want it to be that way. I mean, I've had I've had people get a hold of me on the phone. They got a question and they'll write a book for the question. I'm going, wow, this is so. I'll get back with them. I'll say, hey, what's your phone number? And they'll go, why? And I go, because I'm going to go teach a class over here about 45 minutes away by Wichita, and I got some windshield time. I'll call you back with the answer. I'm going to type all that shit out. Dang, you know. And I get them on the phone. They go, "Oh my God, I'm starstruck. I can't believe I'm talking to you." Well, I'm gonna hang up. You keep that up. I mean, it's just I'm not a celebrity. I'm not. I mean, I'm humbled by it all. The recognition. I mean, I tried to help people out. That's what I tried to do. I really tried to help people out. And some of them, I mean, I'm the one that's starstruck. I mean, I got people who get a hold of me and they'll go, "Wow, you're alive. You're real." Yeah, well, yeah, I try to be. I mean, kind of smell funny today. You know, Fab Tech is the same way. You know, you got kids coming out of the bathroom wanting to shake my hand. What's there's something wrong with that? See, I'm going, oh, hey, I'm just like you. I just got a different way of going around it, I guess. But I've had people walk up to me at Fab Tech and they go, God, man, you're goofier than hell on camera. Thank you. I want to be. I mean, I just try to be my normal self and try to relate. Stuff's going to happen every day. Don't try to cut it out and all that. And they go, man, we like it when you screw up because you don't try to hide it. You're real. You're not you're not above us. I'm going, no, I'm right here beside you, man. Same thing. So FabTech it's fun. Meet a lot of good people, such as yourself. Andrew, can you hold it down back there? I'm trying to answer a man's question here. You're getting loud.
Am I what? Am I
Uh,
being loud over here?
yeah, gee whiz. I mean, settle down. You're all bouncing off the wall. Are you awake even? You got
I'm awake.
oh man. You know, at FabTech's fun. I get to meet a lot of people. There's a lot of interesting things to see. And I walk up to somebody that's got a display, and I'll comment on it, and they'll go, "What did you just say?" And because maybe I had a little past experience with it, and though that strikes up a conversation right there, and it gets pretty involved, and it's interesting because you learn a ton of stuff and all the background and the history stuff and everything. I just think it's cool.
Yeah, I always put a email that I don't use anymore connected to my past so that because when
Yeah,
everybody wants to scan that QR code on there.
right,
Oh, all the time. All the
right. Well,
vendors, they want to
oh man,
have
I'm
your
telling you.
information.
Yeah, hey, I was going to FabTex back when you carried that crap home. If you wanted information, you grabbed a pamphlet, you're getting on a plane or you're driving home with about 400 extra pounds of stuff. I mean, it's, information, but that's how we did it. Hell, I was in sales in the late 80s, early 90s, and I carried books with me. I carried some of my textbooks with me, some of my code books. Answered a lot of questions that way, but that was the reference. It's like my whole back seat of my company rig was a freaking encyclopedia bullshit back there. But we
Now
didn't have,
we've heard about your car these days and how when you go to these events it is so stuffed full of welding equipment. You're a rolling fab shop on wheels, and the only thing you don't have is a hydraulic bandsaw on wheels towing behind your car. Can you tell
I
us a little
know.
bit about your welding rig you got going on?
Well, God dang it. I've got a 12 valve 1997 Dodge 3/4 ton pickup out there. Unfortunately, it's not roadworthy per se.
Yeah.
The heat and air and the front end needs some zerks in. I mean, it needs a lot of work on the front end and stuff like that. So it's not safe. Dang thing, I've driven it all over the country. The thing used to get 23 miles a gallon loaded down on the road.
Yep.
That back with real fuel, before we took the sulfur out of it. But shit, I could drive from here to South Texas on one tank of fuel. I mean, and I'd love to be driving it, and I will again, but I'm slowly putting work into it, money
Yeah.
into it. I had another pickup that I had sold. They're supposed to pay me for it, and they didn't. I guess I got a patch on my forehead that says "Screw Bob" or something, jerking me over. I got people that don't commit, they don't do what they're committed to do, and that's pay me.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, so I bought this. I needed a way to get back and forth to airports and stuff like that, events. So I bought this vehicle off my brother. I call it my fast mover, and it is. Uh, I just had to embarrass somebody the other day. They thought they could race. We pulled up to a light there by Wilson Park, Bryn. You know where that's at.
Yep.
Yeah. I could tell they wanted a piece of me, so I paddle shifted over into second gear, and they took off. I took off, and I bring mine up on the pipe there, get it on the power band. I drop in third and fourth gear, and they wouldn't get up beside me after that. They were they were embarrassed because they got moved by they got whipped by the family sedan. The 4-door Avalon.
Four-door
Uh,
Avalon.
Gee whiz! I mean, I wish I'd be driving my truck, but when I go places, I got to have certain things. I got to have tools, got to have equipment, got to have the stuff. So
Right.
throw it in the car, and I know it's embarrassing, but you know what? When I get there, I use 90% of the stuff, 95% of the stuff I took. So there you have it.
There you have it.
So I'm going back down to Arc City this next weekend, right? And when I go there, I only eat at certain spots because I found what's good. What's your favorite
Well, if they're
thing to
good,
eat
then
down
I'll join you because there's only a couple. There's not very many. I got a new Mexican restaurant
what's that
that
one?
was over there by Pikes. I haven't eaten there yet, but I see the parking lot is jam full every night they're open. So
Is it La Fiesta?
no,
Oh,
I get fajitas from La Fiesta.
so do I. They're
Mm.
great. I love them.
You want to sit down to dinner? You go to Nevis's
Oh, I've never heard of that. Let me write
up
that
on the
down.
hill.
I'm gonna write
No,
that
not
down.
Nevis's. It's up. No, it's the other one up on the hill. I haven't been there in a while. Obviously, I haven't sat down to dinner for a while.
Huh. Uh,
El
yeah.
Mogwai.
Isn't there a there's a barbecue spot by La Fiesta, isn't there?
Yeah, Billy Sims.
Is that
Billy
good?
Sims played Oklahoma football. Oh, you.
You
That's back
you
in the day. Well, that's back in the day when Nebraska and OU would square off pretty much traditionally for the national title or the Orange Bowl or one of those, isn't there?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
You
we're
weren't
coming
born
back
yet. Don't
this
worry
year.
about it.
This
Yeah. Once
Huh?
again, before we were born.
yeah.
Yeah, I was watching football games down at OU in 1977, 78.
This year's our comeback year, though.
Hey, I was respected Nebraska football. I mean, who was the coach for the longest time?
You got Bo Pelini,
No,
Scott
before you were
Osborne.
born.
Oh,
Yeah, Osborne.
oh,
Osborne, yeah.
Tom Osborne. What the
Yeah,
hell am I saying? I'm thinking of Scott Frost. No,
well, you
Scott
better
Frost.
not. Yeah, Tom
Yeah,
Osborne. Man,
yeah,
I tell you, those old rivalries and traditions of 100 years or more. Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, some of those, Georgia, and you know, the 100-year-old traditions. They're all broken up now. You know why?
What about it?
Greed and TV bullshit, TV rights. You got to have somebody like Lee Corso come on with a $2,500 suit and sit there and make his predictions and a bunch of bullshit don't mean nothing. After the game when all his stuff went out the door, he ain't around to defend what he said, so who gives a crap?
Yeah, Tom Osborne was such a good football coach that we voted him into Congress after
Yeah.
he was a representative for Nebraska.
I've
Seriously.
respected I used to have the Big 12, I respected all these programs. Some of them are stronger than others. I mean, you don't want to,
Yeah.
I didn't, K-State, yeah, basketball, OSU, Oklahoma State, wrestling, shoot, man, OU, football,
Yeah.
all that, I mean, you got to pick and choose your right turf. I think there's more OU fans in Kansas than there is in Oklahoma. I don't know. Bunch of them.
Yeah, every time I go to the casino, well, I guess the casino I go to down there is in Oklahoma. First Council, 7 clans, but there's a lot of Oklahoma fans in there. They like to talk
Oh
shit,
yeah,
so I quit wearing Nebraska shirts in there.
yeah. You might want to.
You know,
You might want.
I got recognized there one time.
Actually, we're respectful down here. See, we don't dog on each other just because you're wearing a Nebraska shirt. You'd be buying the drinks, not us. But I mean, no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, that First Council used to have a really nice restaurant in there. I haven't been back in a while, but they
Yeah,
did a really damn good job.
we had the prime rib buffet like 2 times ago that we went down there in that casino, and I don't know. I like prime rib regardless, but my buddy's a big he's a food critic, pretty harsh, and he didn't like it.
I like prime rib too, and I don't. I'm kind of particular, but I like smoked prime rib.
Mm.
Mm.
Smoked prime rib and horseradish sauce. Yeah, buddy.
How does Bob Moffatt cook his turkey on Thanksgiving?
Smoke it.
You
Smoke
smoke
it.
it?
Good call.
Yeah, I'll
Classic.
smoke birds. Man, I used to build smokers. When I came back from Alaska, I read some books on these guys that they have to survive, and they build their wood stoves and stuff out of tundra daisies and a hammer. That's tin snips. That's all they had. You know what a tundra daisy is, don't you?
No.
It's a
No.
55-gallon drum.
Oh.
No.
Well, think about it for a minute. You live above the Arctic Circle, you better have something, or you're gonna die. So these guys have to. They got to build up their wood stove, and they make it. They making seams out of the sheet metal, and they're hammering them shut. But they fashion this thing up, and the books I was reading was how to bank a fire, how to make a fire breathe, where you can control it. It's got to be tight. And what I came up with was I'd cap off my pipe for my grill, and I'd put 5 vents in it. I wouldn't put any stacks in it. I probably built 300 grills and smokers with no stack in it. Huh?
Mm.
I'll tell you what I was using for vents. The center of a grinding disc is what material?
It's
I don't even
metal.
know.
Is
Yeah.
it aluminum?
Nice answer. Uh, Aluminum zinc, but it's on a 5/8 11 shaft or 5/8 11 thread, right?
Yep.
That's what's common on your grinders. I would put those on a 9/16 11 bolt. They were just a little sloppy is all, and that's fine because I didn't have to get exact center, and they would always snug up against the surface of the pipe or the cap of the grill. But I'd put 5 vents in them, and one of them in the middle was above the coals. So if I wanted to smoke something, I'd build a fire, and I'd close the bottom vents, open the top ones, and open that one in the middle. The air came in, got on top of the coals, just laid there and breathed, and make a grill sit there and go 225 all day long. No problem. That's a good smoking temp. Also, cut a aluminum can, put water in it somewhere in the grill. Sit there and steam whatever you're cooking. Usually
Yep.
birds.
Yep.
Usually birds,
Do,
chickens and birds.
do
But I got pulled over by an ambulance once. I'm the only person to have that happen. I was going to go deliver a turkey to a friend of mine on Christmas Day. It was snowing, and I had this fire going for days and days, and I smoked him about a 14-pound turkey. And when you're driving, you can't see the smoke. When you stop, smoke billows up out of the grill and everything. I had this guy in his ambulance light me up with his lights and siren. He thought my truck was on fire. There's a 16-inch pipe. You could barely see it above the tailgate. I said, "No, I'm good. I'm just going to go deliver this man's turkey." And I lifted the lid. He goes, "God dang, that looks good."
Here, take you a leg.
Yeah, smoking with pecan and fruit wood, cherry woods, stuff like that.
You know what's funny, Bob, is when we met you in Atlanta and we got those pictures right after. Stacia wanted to take a group photo with all the Edge Army members, right?
Yeah,
And uh, me and Andrew were
I
just
remember where I
standing
was
there.
standing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know what's funny is I took the picture for you guys, And then I come back the next year, and next year I was in the Edge Army. Let's go.
Went from taking the picture one year to being in the picture the next year.
Yeah, you
Yep.
took one for the team there, didn't you?
Full circle moment. No, I wasn't in the Army before, so I had to. I was like, all right, I'll take the picture because I wasn't part of the group.
Yeah, you know they make these self timer things. It's I tell you what, group photos are a nightmare. They're a bit to take. You know, I usually holler out during, especially I used to photograph weddings. I hated doing weddings, but I'd tell people if you blink during my photo, it's $5 cash. Don't blink during my damn photo. And sure enough, Google eyed. Uh, you know where we took that picture
Yeah.
in the corner of the building,
Uh
right?
huh.
Yep.
My car was parked across the street to the north, right across the street. Hell no. Got to walk all the way out. Got to walk clear back over by Hard Rock and Atlanta. Get your laughing out of the way, man. I had to call a cab once to get back around the whole other side of the building. I mean, you walk for miles just to get out the damn door. I hate that
Yep.
venue, man. I mean, love it that it's in Atlanta and the World Congress Center and all that, but it is the most screwed up, disconnected. Wow, it was brutal.
I was not a fan of Chicago's. I mean, it's bigger, it's more organized, but you got to walk a long ways to get out as well in there.
Yes, sir. Well, that's the McCormick Center. You can park across the street in the McCormick in that deal going across the breezeway. That didn't
Yeah.
used to be there. Um, man, I've stayed at the Hyatt McCormick right there. You still know you walk a lot.
Yeah.
I stayed at the Marriott, just around the block there, half block away, whatever. Oh crap, man, you put some miles on.
Yeah.
I mean, by day three, your calves are singing to you. It's like, don't do this to me again today. I
Man, I
was,
will.
one thing I started carrying to FabTechs. If I drive there, I have my Genie on board. My
Genie.
Genie. Yeah, that's an industrial size chiropractor vibrator pad thing that they put on your back, before they adjust you. About $250.
Oh.
Oh man, I make some money. Yeah, hook that thing up. Get your calves over here. I'll talk to you. You'll
Bob
give me a
Moffat's
20. You'll give me a
massage.
20 spot.
Bob Moffat's
I'm
massage service at
That's
FabTech. Catch
right.
us in
There you
Orlando.
go. That's right.
You know what I
Rubbing
saw
butts and rubbing calves and butts. $20.
in
I'll wore
Atlanta?
myself out somehow. I got to make money somehow. See.
In Atlanta, there was a bunch of companies there that were selling like massage guns and stuff. And this guy, he told me $700. I just wanted the free sample, so I went up and I had him massage me. But when I got done, he told me $700 for a friggin' massage gun, and I said, "How about 300?" He said 350. I was like, "What the heck?"
Oh, it's wanting to. Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. Massage gun. I like those chairs. Shit. See, one of these days you'll see me in one of them massage. Wait, shiatsu, or is that how you pronounce it?
I'm not sure.
Got the rolling bead, both things in the where you do your calves and your back and your butt, everything. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have one of those chairs. See, I'll come to FabTech in it. It'll be on wheels, or something. I'll have that chair. I'll have an IV stand with a slow drip. My whiskey and water in the side of my face. Shoot, yeah, I got that figured out. Cables, and hoses, and crap running everywhere. Shoot.
What do you eat when you're at FabTech? Because I haven't found a single good food yet out of the two
You
we've
know,
been to.
Atlanta. I think I stayed at the Hilton Atlanta. It was a weird setup. But I found a Irish pub not far from the where I stayed in Atlanta, and I still go back there. I still go back there and have some Irish fare,
Huh.
uh, bangers and mash. I don't know. I mean, I kind of look around for some place that's been there a while, established tradition. I don't like. I mean, I'll do a chain, whatever. Usually, I mean, I'm comfortable going to the grocery store and making a sandwich while I'm walking through there and eating some fruit and buying a pack of gum and leaving.
Yeah.
That was a joke. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I try to watch what I'm doing when I'm out on situations like that. I mean, I heard a lot of people got sick at that Hard Rock.
Really?
Yeah,
In Atlanta?
in Atlanta. Yeah,
Oh,
I heard there were some people who got ill in Atlanta.
I thought
I
that
don't know.
food
I
was
try to look for a
great.
nice restaurant. Usually something that's been there a while. I like tradition. I mean,
Yeah.
you'd go to a nice steakhouse when you
Yeah.
get some prime rib if the place has been there a long time. You know they're doing it right.
Yeah.
yep.
So,
I had a lot of good food in Chicago, but not at the
oh
convention center.
man,
Like at the convention center in Atlanta was horrible Chinese food,
It was
and
oh
awful. Didn't even
yeah,
eat it. It was terrible.
yeah, it was
yeah,
trash.
it's bad.
Then you wait 2 hours in that food truck
$12 hot
line.
dog. Yeah,
Yep. So do we think we will
Chicago.
see Mr. Bob
I
Moffatt at Orlando? Oh,
count on it. Count on it. I'll
all
drive
right.
down there.
You're gonna
Um,
drive down there?
I don't know yet. I don't
Oh,
know yet. Probably show up in the Dodge. Have to throw a paint job on it. It's kind of rusty right now. Chicago. So I get in there one time. Oh, this is a good one. I'm flying up there. It was a day that they had tornadoes in Illinois. Okay, we're still putting duct tape on the wings in Wichita on my plane. We're flying up there. I'm landing at Midway, and at one point I'm looking out the window of the seat I'm in there, and I'm looking at the runway. Did I tell you how windy it was? We're kind of turned sideways, coming in for landing. I'm going, damn, I'm gonna be a greasy spot down there in just a few minutes here. I get off that flight and I'm going, God, I'm a nervous wreck. I call this cab and I tell the guy I'm staying at Hyatt McCormick and I'm not in a hurry. This guy's doing 90 mile an hour, missing people's bumper by about 6 inches. I was a nervous wreck when I got there to Hyatt. I didn't want a beer. I needed one. $7 a whack. They got you while you're there. You can't go down the road to a convenience store and pick you up a 6 pack, come back. That's not the way it works. They got you there. So I'm at the bar the night before FabTech, and I'm watching the Chicago Broncos game, and I'm watching bar tabs being cashed in. The smallest one I saw was about $700 something.
mm,
Oh man.
Well, it's companies that are entertaining their potential clients, and that's cool. And it's write off, But
yeah.
I mean, the bar was hopping. It's the only bar right there at the Hyatt. Anyway, I went and had dinner after my 7 beers that I needed. I went and had dinner, and it was a fillet, asparagus, taters, dessert. No, it's like $55, and that's about normal. That's fine. That was a good meal
Yeah.
in the Hyatt. So the next day during the conferences, they fed us, and they fed us kind of late. And I thought, I'm not going to go to dinner. I'll be able to make it all night. Well, that was a mistake. About 10 o'clock, I got the hangries going on. I went downstairs to the Starbucks area there, and I got some desserts or some snacking stuff and some fruit and nuts. I bought this yogurt parfait thing. Whew, that was a mistake. That thing hit me the next morning about 10 o'clock. I could have blown the windows out of the McCormick place. I was farting like a pack mule. Man, it's bad. Uh, and then that night, that afternoon, they let us out kind of early. So I went to the maitre d' and I said, "Hey, I want a steak here. I want a Chicago steak experience. I don't want to go 50-mile cab ride, and I'll put on a white dress shirt and a tie, whatever I need to." But he goes, "Man, I've got something for you. And I was trying to sell this guy a smoker. We were talking about smoking fish and stuff. Anyway, so I had talked to him before, but he goes, "I got something for you." And he gave me the name of this place, and he goes, "I made a reservation for you." And I said, "Well, I'm gonna go upstairs and change." He goes, "Man, you're fine the way you are, and you might want to grab a cab before everybody else. Otherwise, you're not gonna get out of there." Uh, it's for the Watermark Inn. It's like a $9 cab ride over there. I walk in, there's nobody in there. I'm going, damn, it's like a bar. And I handed this lady a piece of paper. I said, "I'm glad I made a reservation. Are you busy?" She goes, "Right this way, sir." I sit down and order this. I order this meal. It was about, I don't know, it was about $25, but it was a steak, asparagus, and it had these two tower things there. I don't know what they were. I knocked one of them over, and it was potatoes. Them the best damn potatoes I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, they were like twice baked potatoes with all the flavors in them. They were in this some kind of fila dough thing. I even asked the chef to come out because I had to know. The heck with the steak, the heck with everything else. I'm interested in these potatoes. They're damn good. 25 bucks for that meal, and I walked back from that. It wasn't very far from the uh, Hyatt McCormick, and I walked back.
I stayed in
Pretty
a
kind of a cool evening, but.
yeah.
And I thanked him when I walked in the door. I said, "Dude, that was spot on. That was a damn nice meal right there. That was good.
I stayed
Everything was
in
there, flavors, all that."
the wrong side of Chicago this past time.
Yeah. Yeah, you get downtown, you can always tell when you're down underneath the L. You got bums down there. They want to bum a cigarette or money. So I always carry an empty pack of cigarettes and a credit card. I'm out of smokes. Are you a cash point? Can you ATM? Can I get cash off there for you? Get the hell out of here, bums. Yeah.
Yeah, that's no kidding.
In
They make more
Atlanta,
money than we do.
yeah,
They make more
no
money,
kidding.
three of us combined, panhandling and people. I
I
flew, I flew up there one time with another instructor, and we flew into O'Hare and took the train down to where we were going. We are staying at Embassy Suites on the river. Okay, took
yeah.
the train down there. We get down there. There's taxi cabs, cop cars. Don't see any of them. No drivers for the taxis. No cops anywhere around. We had to walk from the train depot to the Embassy Suites. Oh, we look like a couple of tourists dragging our bags underneath those big old bridges and some of the dark areas in there to get over to the Embassy Suites. God dang. We got approached by some shady characters. You, you can only reach inside. You can only reach inside your lapel several times before they catch on. You ain't got no pistol in there. Come on. It's worth a try, though.
Worth a
I hate
try.
getting approached like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of those places you can disappear.
yeah. Me and Andrew went to when we went to Atlanta. Andrew, you remember meeting up with the Edge Army
Oh,
at that bar that
jeez.
first night
Yep.
when
Yep. With all the crackheads out
yeah,
front.
banging on the
What
windows
bar?
and shit. Some bar in Atlanta, right by the hotel where everybody, or by the zoo, by the Atlanta Zoo, and there was just a bunch of crackheads on the ground outside banging on the windows, and of course we sat right by the
Jesus.
windows. Yeah,
Hey, when I drove down there, I got off I-20. I'm listening to that bitch Siri. Gave me some bad directions there. Whatever. I don't like her sometimes. I took one exit too soon, getting off I-20. It was about 2:30 in the morning. I took one exit too soon, and see, Alabama doesn't like you to carry loaded, so I had put my stuff away. Georgia, they know the necessity of it. Go ahead and load up.
yeah.
Man, I reached over in the console and I jacked one in the pipe. I didn't even bother taking the safety off. I was in the neighborhood. I was running stop signs because if anybody had been out on the street, I'd gone ahead and run over them. I did not want to stop in this neighborhood. It was a rank area right down there. I'm going, wow, this is unreal. And I've been in some bad neighborhoods before. This one's rank. I was wanting to get the hell out of there. That was a crazy time.
Yeah,
One exit too soon. Gee whiz.
yeah. Chicago was pretty bad. One thing I don't like about Fab Tech is that everybody you talk to is a salesman. So me and James from SSP Weld were walking. We were walking back to the Everlast booth, and the salesman jumped out of his their booth and jumped out in front of us as we're walking, and he was like, "What do you guys do for? What do you guys build?" And then James goes, "Nothing," and I go, "I work for the government." And then we walked around him, but just jumping out of your booth and I don't know, salesmen they're too pushy there.
Yep.
Well,
It's like by day three, you're like, all right, man, I've had
Yeah,
enough of you
right.
bothering me. Leave
Andrew,
leave me
Andrew, you'd
alone.
walk down you walk down Fab Tech roads, you see an Asian sleeping.
I have not. No.
Oh, come on, man. My Todd, I called Todd Clauser was the camera guy that I had with Weld.com for a long time. And the camera guy and I, we go disappear. We go down Asian Row or something. We go try to find the guys that are sleeping. Well, I did a little background on that. That's okay in their culture.
Really?
Yeah, you sleep on the job. That's fine. I mean,
Huh.
you got to give it to these guys. They're flying halfway across the world. They're in different time
Yeah.
zone. Their body's probably, and but I found out that's okay. But I always like to go kind of mess with them. They'd have their mouth wide open. They'd be snoozing away, and I'd be taking their candy, and you know, I always thought that was kind of fun. But gee whiz, that's kind of okay. It's kind of
I'm
like
gonna be
that word
going
down
and
in
go ahead.
well, it's kind of like that word down in Australia that here in the United States, you get sued for using that word. Starts with a C, ends with a T. But down in Australia, that means, hey, you're a proper, you know, you're okay. You're my buddy.
You're good. Yep.
I'm not kidding.
Good.
Yeah, I got up
Yeah.
one
Oh
morning and
yeah.
I'm reading comments. That's one thing on the YouTube channel. You got to take care of the commenters and stuff. You want to engage with them.
Hmm.
And I get up one morning and I'm reading and I see the C word in there. I'm going, oh crap. Uh, I called the camera guy. I said, man, we got a problem here. We got to take care of this crap here, because there's what we tried to do, and I would ban people, but I'd try to work with them first. Because if you ever turn one of the naysayers around, then they're the biggest salesman, biggest promoter for you, and then they buy into you. See,
Right.
but if you can't turn them around, then you might as well just fire them and ban them. And I had to ban several people, but this guy, I don't know, he called me a c word thing, and I thought we had a big problem. Well, Todd got busy. I got busy with classes all day long, and I forgot about it. I come back in the afternoon, and the problem had taken care of itself. But then somebody had sent me some background, a little research, and they said, "No, that's in Australia. That means you're a proper bloke, man. You're good to go. You're a good guy."
That's
Really?
crazy.
Oh, I know. And I didn't know that at the time. I got damn. You know?
Um,
Yeah, that Bob. He's a right proper.
out
That's
of
not how this comment went, but that's how it turned out to be after that. Dang, I didn't know that. So I went and called my secretary that, and I thought we was gonna fight. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Bob,
Uh,
out of all the
I did tell her the story. I said, I don't know if I could get away with calling you that. She goes, well, probably not. You know, even though I hired her, she didn't have a sense of humor about that.
Bob, out of all the jobs you worked on, what's your favorite or coolest project you've ever gotten to work on?
Oh man, I knew you were gonna ask that. Shit. Oh Lord, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I've been blessed with working on some cool stuff. Um, you know,
Jess,
it's all to me. I've worked on some crappy stuff like crawling inside of a cement mixer and fixing some wear holes in the drum, stuff like that.
mhm.
It's already 110 degrees outside, and you're about to die. Um, boy, I don't know. Cross country pipelines, Williams pipelines. I don't know. I'd say Williams. I guess that was fun.
Yeah.
Only because of the stuff that was happening to my contractor, the owner of the company.
What was that?
I was their I was their only Williams tested hand at this business.
huh.
Meaning, yeah, you go into Conoco, you had to have $1 million liability back in those days. $1 million liability insurance. Going to Williams, you got to have 2 million.
Ooh.
You know,
Yeah.
and Williams, uh, a lot of their stuff downhill API 1104. Conoco is uphill, ASME P313 stuff. So different procedures, different things, but I don't know. That's kind of like his Williams job, rerouting jet fuel lines in their tank farms. Kind of dangerous, but run a stopple bag up inside it, sniff around, rinse it out, have your inspector come over, make sure you don't barbecue your balls down in a ditch or something. And good to go. Start welding. Uh, yeah.
Or,
Very first Williams job. Man, I took tests all day long. I took weld tests. 12 on 12 branch. I did 6G. I did 2 inch TIG root. I did everything. All these processes, all these tests. I got home. I was worn out, man. But I passed them all, and so I was their only Williams tested hand that could weld inside their plants. Okay. I mean, as a company, we could do prefab stuff, but if you want me to do a live weld somewhere, it had to be me because I was the one that passed all the tests. Anyway, very first job we go up on, uh, it was going to be down in Oklahoma City. We were going to put in a prover underground. Prover is, I don't know if you know much about pipelines. They have sections that are polished. They have these pipe spools that are polished. They also run a chromatograph gas in there. You know what that is?
no.
It's like a
Uh-uh.
10 point mix. It's got all the trace amounts of gas and then the balance of nitrogen. So by diffraction, they know what's in their pipeline. They know if there's isopentane, butane. They know what's in the gas, right? And then by the polished spool section, they know the volume that's going through there. It's known diameter, known so all those measurements. Those are like standards, okay? So we're gonna go put this prover in down in Oklahoma City, and Jesus, it's hotter than hell. It's 4th of July weekend around that time. And I was going back and forth with my buddy in Norman. He's a anesthesiologist. Don't ask me to spell that right now. He's a doctor. I go back and forth. I was playing golf tournaments with him, and I'd ask to stop in there. I'd ask one of the guys at the company, can I stop in there to get familiar with the job, to see what I need? I own more stuff. A lot of times I'm out in the field working. I own more stuff than the contractor does. Rigging tools, layout tools, stuff like that. It just makes my job uh, quicker. I can work more efficient, safer, all that kind of stuff. I had halon fire extinguishers I carried a lot of times. If I got to
Mm.
do a hot tap somewhere, I want my gear with me. Anyway, the response I got was, "Oh, you just a dumb welder. Been none of your business." Okay, so we're gonna go put this prover in. I get down there, the ditches that they had dug. I mean, it's like digging in a parking lot. This ground was hard rock. And I'm looking around, they got these perfectly dug ditches and they're laid out all over wherever this pipeline's going across the yard there. And I said, well, that's impressive. What's this? What's in this pipe going across the ditch? We don't know. Well, that's a problem. It could be acid. It could be electrical. I'd kind of like to know what's in it for safety's sake.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. When I go into a plant, the very first thing I'm looking for is my escape routes. I want to know my whereabouts. I want to be able to move around safely and be able to leave. I want to be able to take care of the people that are around me as well. Don't think I'm paying attention to what's going on. So anyway, I'm asking these questions of what's in these pots. We don't know. And I said, okay, where's the bell holes at? Well, what do you mean? And I said, well, we're not building this and dropping it down in the ditch because you got all these lines going across here, which you don't know what's in them. We're building this thing underground. So the first, we're coming out of the pump house over here. We're elbowing down into underground. We're going along. I said, my first weld's going to be about right in here where the first jointed pipe is. There's no bell hole dug. Uh, I said, well, I'm just a dumb welder. I don't dig holes. Neither does my standby guy. We're going to the hotel. We're going to soak up some of that air conditioner while you guys dig some freaking bell holes. And by the way, I need to be underneath the pipe. I got to have clear line of sight. I got to be able to grind and everything else. So get to digging. See ya. I'm just a dumb welder. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
he,
Yeah, we had some guys, they'd miss road bores on the prints. They'd miss all kinds of stuff. And then they try to blame it on the welder to try to make it up. Well, uh, not the way it works, man.
yeah.
You're
So
not smart enough to pick up the stuff on the road board. We're not behind when we get there, okay? And I'll finish the job when I make my last weld, just because I'm your only tested guy. We're not going to have more people in here. They
yeah,
don't, yeah. Those jobs were fun. They were out in the field, and I liked them. I like being out in the field. Uh, I'm the unlucky guy that whenever, like up in Iowa in October, whichever way the ditch is running, that's which way the wind's blowing. Good Lord, I don't know how I'm not kidding you, man. It might be mist and rain and windy. You know, you're already kind of wet and cold, and you're thinking, God, there's a 90 right down there about 80 feet away. If I make two more joints here, I turn the ditch, I turn the corner, I'll be out of the wind. Bullshit. The wind turns with you. Well, God dang it. Somebody built me a hooch.
Oh man.
I got some funny stories out on the road, but a lot of good people, a lot of funny stuff. I mean, just like in class, when I was teaching, we laugh every day. We try to bring humor into it every day. We just don't do anything stupid and unsafe, you know.
yeah,
Absolutely.
But things are going to happen. It's problem solving daily. Every time you drop the hood, it's problem solving. So, hey, I was going to ask you about these salesmen that were hitting you up there. Are they with a big company or independent or what?
I don't remember what company. It was like a 40 by 40 booth, so that's 40,000 at least. They had a nice pad too.
Shit,
That's
yeah,
probably another
big.
10,000, whatever. But um, no, I don't remember who it was. I want to say Razor Weld, if you know who they are. It's like
Yeah,
an
I
orange
do.
and black company, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody asked me what my favorite machine was, and I said the one that welds good. I don't give a damn what color it is. I know this. I mean, Everlast Green, they're packed with features.
yeah,
They
Oh
got
yeah.
more bang for the buck than anything ever has. Traditionally along the way, uh, stuff works.
right.
Oh yeah.
Yellow machines,
We're both
ESOP
big
machines, they've
Everlast
got.
guys.
ESOP's got a bad rep because they got a decent name for themselves, but it's like the get back. They got hell. Nobody answers the phone anymore with
Yeah.
the company. You used to be able to contact, be able to do some promotions. Miller and Lincoln. Hell, I bought probably $500,000 worth of stuff at the school. I didn't even get a ball cap. Not that I needed it, but when I call somebody with a technical question, I kind of expect you to, can you help me out here?
Right.
Oh, lazy ass reps.
Yeah.
I think they play video games when they go to Fab Tech. They call them motel welding and supply people. Man, they stay in the hotel and play games or some crap. Worthless.
Yeah.
Lincoln guy. I mean, people. You got to get with the right folks. They'll get back with you. What
Yeah.
amazes me is some of these old welding supply folks. They'll fire the old guys, the ones that know something, and they'll bring on some newbies that they don't know a lug from a contact tip, and they act like they don't want to know either. Shit. Call somebody up with Andrew, if I call you and I say, hey man, I'm going to buy this and this and this, and I need a education on some of this, and you go, well, I'll get back with you next week. That's not the way we buy, is it?
Nope.
When
I
we
need that
when we get ready
information.
to, yeah, I need that info, man. I mean, you
Yeah.
make impulse buys sometimes, expensive
Absolutely.
impulse buys, but we want to buy now.
I
We
can't tell you how many sales I've gotten off of Instagram because I answered someone's question. I mean,
yeah,
as soon as they send it, if it's a question I can answer, I'm gonna answer it right away. And sometimes they'll
yeah,
go right away. They'll go right ahead and buy it.
yeah.
It's
When
great.
I was in sales, I was still teaching when I was in sales. Well, that was fun. I'd be 100 miles away, and I'd have a class in an hour. I'd make it to class on time. uh, not only did I take those books with me to answer questions and stuff, I was like to, and I still to this day, another reason I like to go to FabTech is I make referrals. I make a lot of
Mm.
referrals. If somebody needs a product here, and I know about it or whatever, I say, hey, check this out. You know, maybe this would work for you. And I've taken pride in that because I try to match it up correctly. But uh, not when I was in sales, I did very well because I could show people, I could demonstrate somebody like a technique or something. And I didn't have to go in on the premise of cutting my price, which is the wrong way you want to sell anything. I can mathematically prove that with you. Uh, I was just, you know, I could demonstrate how to use it correctly and save money. So that's how I approach the sale. Uh, I'll give you an example if you want one.
Yeah.
There's a company over in Fairview, Oklahoma, other side of Enid, about the western part of my sales route. I was outside salesman. I had two route drivers under me, and I would go, you know, bird dog sales and stuff, see if we could pick up clients, pick up accounts and stuff. There's a company over there that I couldn't get into, and I'm pretty damn good about getting into an account. Okay, this young lady at the front desk, man, she had this place locked down. She's a good looking little sucker too. But I'm wanting to hang out at the cafe at 5 o'clock morning. I'll go have breakfast with the foreman. I'll get in this plant one way or the other. Front door, back door, don't matter to me. I'm gonna get in here. Man, this place was brutal. Finally, one day she said something about Ditch Witch, and I said, "Well, I call on Ditch Witch 3 or 4 times a week. We just hired an engineer from there." I said, "What's his name?" She says, "I won't give you the last name." He says, "Ricky." I said, "Well, get him down here. I know him, you know." He comes down, and is like, "Bob, how you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a while." And I was calling on this guy at Ditch Witch. Anyway, he says, "Come on back. I'll give you a tour, and we'll go up to the office." Of course, I'm looking at this guy. Yeah, that's how you do it, you know. Anyway, I get in there. This company was just coming out of the dark ages of stick welding. My competitor had them on. My competitor had them on straight CO2, and they're trying to weld up these heavy articulated steering sweepers, like for foundries. They had a cool product, but God, they were ugly. I mean, they were slinging BBs and chiseling buckshot. They were doing a lot of things wrong, really. I mean, wrong, and it was so bad. And plus, they're paying. I've, as a salesman, you kind of get privy to, you find out how much they're paying on certain things. They're overpaying on wire, all kinds of stuff. We get up to this guy's office. He goes, "What do you think?" I said, "You guys need a seminar. You need a seminar. I want to save you some money. I want to work with you. I'm going to charge you $250 for you guys listen to my sorry ass one night. I'll bring all the sandwiches and everything. You get all your welders and your foremen. I want management there, but I'm going to charge you $250 for you to listen to me." Okay, we'll do it. We get in there. We have the first thing I do is drop some papers in front of management and said, "I could save you a minimum of 50,000 right away. Minimum 50,000."
Jeez.
Oh God. I mean, anyway, here's how it played out. The foremen already hate me. They walk around in their coveralls playing pocket pool, and that's fine. They can hate me all they want. The welders, they like me because I had something to say. Guess what I took to that seminar for a demo? Guess. Brand
I
new
Books.
don't know.
machine? Was it a brand new machine?
No, I'd
Well, you'd
imagine
think
not.
that. I mean, I was gonna show them some stuff. So, no, I took one bottle of gas. I backed in the door of the shop. They thought I was gonna have some trailer full of equipment, so I dropped in there and put a bottle of gas on their old time boat anchor Hobart. I mean, this thing was a dinosaur wire feed machine. And I made a few adjustments, and I'm spray welding, and I'm hauling ass. And I pulled the trigger, and I welded about 2 feet pretty quick. And the welders are liking it. And I looked at management. I'm saying those welds that I just put down are smaller, deeper penetrating, and stronger by engineering factors. You guys are over welding. You're chiseling BBs and buckshot afterwards that's labor intensive. That's no profit there
Yeah.
Yeah.
before you go to paint. And I showed them you can, you know, the face of the weld was probably 3/8. The hot spray weld, and I'm hauling ass. And I said, "I'm actually putting less heat into the material than you guys are." Man, they're all for it. They're all for it. They went through this and they're going, "It's easy to do." And that was a bottle of Stargon Tri Blend for steel.
Yeah.
90% argon, 7.5% CO2, and 2.5 oxygen, I believe. You can short arc and spray on the same bottle.
Jesse just told us about his Stargon for aluminum.
Yeah, and
And
he didn't. Yeah, does he know what's in it?
yeah, he told us it was like,
Yeah, he talked us through
what
it. Yeah.
was it? It was, I don't remember. Like, I don't know. I have it
There's
wrote
a
down though.
yeah. See, Stargons came around by I think it was Lindy. I think Matson's got them now. Praxair does them. Anyway, the Stargon aluminum has a very minor percentage of a reactive gas in it.
That's what he said.
Yep.
That's why, that's why it works the way it works. Interesting. Better living through chemistry, my man. But when I was out in the field and I was doing sales, I was able to demonstrate, and that's what got us more accounts than anything. Being able to
Yeah.
demonstrate, being able to do it. I remember going to seminars with this company, like down to Miller in Dallas, Fort Worth area. There's a big warehouse down there. We go to a seminar. There might be two or three people in the whole group that's got welding experience. The rest of them are salespeople that just take orders.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I'm sure it
shoot.
definitely helped with you being able to actually perform what you were talking
Oh
about and not
God.
just
Yeah,
tell
oh
them
yeah, it
about it.
does. It helps. It helps a bunch. I think.
I'm sure.
I
I'm sure
picked up.
coming from a welder standpoint. Yeah.
I was averaging about a count a week that I would take from my competitors in my territory,
That's awesome.
and a count a week.
And
And I had lunch with the guy too, with the driver. He goes, "God, you're killing me out here." I said, "Well, it's business, man. You know, sorry, but it's a competitive business. I'm just going in and doing my thing."
Did you ever think about opening up your own supply store?
No, but I'd like to go back into sales.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Why'd you enjoy
I
sales
would.
so
It's that
much?
referral thing. It's like taking care of your customer. When you're in sales, you're not selling product. You're selling yourself. A lot of people don't understand that. You selling yourself. You call me in the middle of the night and you got a problem, I'm gonna be there for you if you're one of my customers. I've had it happen. Now, if you're not
yeah.
one of my customers, and I've had this happen a lot. See, everybody's hell bent on price, right? Well, let me give you a scenario. I had a customer that I was trying to do business with him. He wasn't one of our regular goes, but he calls me up, and this is the purchasing agents. I've had to train a few of them. Here's how it goes. You call me up and you want a machine, so I'll give you a quote. Well, my quote is like 3 or 4 pages long. It has everything with it to turn the machine on. It's turnkey. It's wired into your wall or it's pluggable into your wall. Okay. When I deliver it, I'm going to stay with your people there and go through all the bells and whistles. I'm going to stay there, and that time is free to you as well. It's going to have everything complete. So my quote is going to be $300-400 higher than anybody else's, right?
Right.
So these purchasing agents, they call up and they go, "God dang, you're high. You're $300 higher than anybody else." I said, and they ask, "You got any room?" "Yeah, I can go up. I'm not go to this elevator. If I quote you a price, that is the price. I'm not coming off of it. I'm not going down. I'll go up. I'm going up." Okay. So here it is. A couple of weeks later, they call me up and they go, "Hey, can you come down here and put this machine together?" "What machine? You told me I was $300 too high."
Mm,
Oh, let me guess. You went with a competitor and they delivered it in a box. It's sitting out on your loading dock. Isn't that right? Yeah. I said, "Okay, well, yeah, I'll come put it together for you. It's $50 an hour from the time I leave the driveway to the time I get home. You understand that?" "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So I'd drive down there real slow. I'd take everything with me, all the Oetiker clamps and gas hose and power cable and all this other crap down there, and that's at list price. And I'd come home, and I'll guarantee you, the ticket that I send you after I put your machine together for you, and stay with your operator and go through everything, make sure everything is going to be several $100 higher than what you were originally quoted by me. So what the hell?
yeah.
They wouldn't flinch. After that, they started calling me, going, "Hey, need a quote on another machine." I said, "Okay." There's a guy. I used to overnight in this town out in western Oklahoma, and he'd leave his shop unlocked. I'd go over and weld at night if I got bored. I'd go over and weld up all his stuff, I'd go in and have coffee the next morning. He'd go, God dang it, you didn't leave anything behind for my welder. I said, well, that's your fault, man. What do I owe you? I said, nothing, just keep buying stuff from me. I'll come in here and weld for you at night. Bored shitless out there, nothing to do. Good guy. I want to go back and visit some of those accounts. But,
How about your students? You still stay in touch with some of your past students?
I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do. Uh, I've been blessed with a bunch of them. I mean, a whole bunch of them. I'd like to know how many that I've had in my career, but I still keep in contact with a lot of them, and I'm at a loss sometimes. I guess it's real easy to remember the name Bob, backwards and forwards and all that. I'll see them in the grocery store Christmas time or something. I know I've had them as a student years back. I don't know what year, and I don't know their name. And it's just like, hey, how you doing? And a tear rolls out of my cheek. What's your name? Shit, embarrassing. Oh man, but yeah, I recognize them. I know I had them in the class. Uh, Damn near every one of them that have graduated the program. I remember those, and there's some that, yeah, I had them in class, but they didn't finish for whatever reason.
yeah,
You know, I never kicked anybody out. Never. I never kicked anybody out of class. Well, unless it was a willful neglect of the behavior deal, but I didn't tolerate that either. But my grading policy was such that uh, if you didn't maintain a certain level, you might as well. I mean, you're mathematically removed anyway. But I never kicked anybody out. All high school kids would flunk out, and they'd go out on the street and say, "Well, you kicked me out of college, kicked me out of welding program." No, you removed yourself. It's from It's from your activity, not mine.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that in the college I went to
yeah,
and Bren went to as well. There was just kids that were doing rolling in high school or whatnot, and they'd show
Yeah,
up and just mess off.
yep,
And we
yep.
got a professor who's a lot like you. His name's John. He used to have his own welding supply company, and
7
that poor
locations.
man would struggle because he would get in trouble for sending these kids home or kicking them out
Yeah,
or just getting onto them. And it was kind of
Yeah,
dumb
you
to
can't.
see, but
Public
yeah.
education is a joke, man. It's a
Oh,
joke.
absolute joke. So it's nice to hear
And
that you were strict on that because my professors weren't allowed to be, I don't think.
again, I can be real damn careful what you do and say. But here's my deal. Uh, Dual enrollment. My classes are full morning and afternoon. If you miss class, when you gonna make it up?
Hmm.
You gonna skip high school to come in and do it doesn't work that way. I don't have any room for you. So it's a zero. You get a zero.
right.
Hmm.
Okay. So here's how it worked out. Right after my first semester of teaching, I realized I'm going to remove myself from the equation. It's a point system. Here are the points that you are awarded. You're working for available daily. 10 points per class if you show up on time. It's motivated to quality of your work. You clean up and do all the procedures, everything. You get 8, 9, 10 points. Okay. It's real easy to make an A, B, C, or A, B rather. Okay. If you miss, you get a zero. So 10 points a day, 24 classes, 240 points. Let's say that on the days that you're there, you average about 80%. Okay. But you miss 4 classes. So you miss 40 points out of 240.
Yep.
Now how many you have available? Well, you have 200. And out of that 200, you're averaging about 80%. Now you're down to 160. What's 160 divided by 240?
Beats me.
Yeah. Here, I'll put it
Well,
to you. I'll put it to you another way. Let's say you're a rock star on Monday, Wednesday, and you get 10 out of 10. A 10, a 10. Uh, you make 20 points, and then on Friday you sleep in because you hung over. You get a zero. So there's 30 points possible per week. What was your grade for the week?
that'll be 66, right?
66%. You just
Yeah,
made a D
66.
because you couldn't get out of bed. See what I mean?
Huh. Yeah.
And I'd lay that to them mathematically. You got to be here every day. You got to be here and motivate the quality, and it's real easy to pass. It's real easy to flunk if you don't turn in your assignments, don't do your work. Real easy to flunk.
Yep. Absolutely.
Here's something funny.
And I wasn't, it removed me from the equation. It wasn't anything I was doing. I'm just writing down what your performance was. See,
I'm not sure if you'll
so
remember this, Bob. So the most recent 4 members that came into the Edge Army was me, and there's 3 others. Okay, but there's only one that you have to sing his last name when you say it. Who's that?
oh, oh, well, that'd be Brian Legale. Oh,
That's right, Mr.
you want
Bingo
to know
Welding.
you want to know this? You want to know the story behind that? Jason Becker and Todd. Uh, see, Brian was contacting me when I was flying back and forth to Florida filming down at a stars weld.com.
Uh-huh.
And he was working a job. I wanted to meet the guy because he wanted to do some collaboration stuff. I said, yeah, it's cool. I ran it by the management there, and it's like they weren't interested or something. I'm going, God dang, that's passing up a good opportunity. Anyway, years later, he comes around, and now he's filming with Jason Becker, and those guys are heckling each other. And I'm going, God dang, this is hilarious, man. I'm loving this guy. Well, for whatever reason, it's like they wanted me to mispronounce his name, and I wouldn't do it. It's like Jason wanted me to say Lagaglio or something, and I wouldn't do that. And he kind of, I got to meet him, and he kind of reminded me of an opera singer anyway. So I started doing some TikTok videos. I'm going, oh man, I'll just sing this guy's name out. He reminds me of, you know, opera singer there with a deep voice, whatever. Brian Legale. Oh, so that's why good guy, good guy.
Yeah, great guy.
I got to meet him. Flew down to Florida, and I was working with Weld.com in September a couple of years ago on a bucket list. I went out and met him.
Yeah.
So Jason Becker, he's going to have a advisory meeting with him, and I said, well, who's going to teach your class while you're in this advisory meeting? Oh, I don't know. I said, well, am I qualified to sub? I'll be there. I pulled in the parking lot. I'm asking some students. I said, where's your teacher at? I heard he was a prick. They started laughing. They knew who their sub was going to be for the day, man. We had a good time. Just podcast with him.
That's
Brian's
awesome.
a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Well, Bob, I think we got an hour and 20 of good footage. But here's one question that we ask all of our guests before we end. What is your favorite genre of music to listen to while you work or weld?
Anything upbeat. Let me tell you something. I grew up in the days of my mom was taking us to plays in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Old lady on the Brady Theater. We go see a live play. I've seen The Sound of Music. I've seen Cats. I've seen a lot of plays, a lot of formal stuff. I will do this. I'll do this. I'll listen to anything, and I've probably been to 400 concerts. I photographed live music on stage for a long time. I've been on stage with Ted Nugent, some big name entertainers. I've shot a lot of film. And I enjoy a lot of different types of music. But here's the deal. I'll cut it off just this side of rap, bump, nasty crap, and classical. Can't go down those roads, I grew up in the days of TV dinners and Lawrence Welk. So I'll cut it off just this short of Lawrence Welk type stuff. Can't do it. But I can listen to about anything. I don't know, something upbeat. I listen to a lot of classical 70s and 80s rock because it's still around. It's still viable.
Yeah.
I'm interested in a lot of types of music, but anything upbeat, blues, something.
Well, we appreciate your time. To everybody listening, thank you for listening. Go ahead and leave a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. Thank you for what's that?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But most important thing is I'm going to leave here with a mission of recruiting good quality students into the crafts.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that is extremely important these days, beneficial. and it's like one of those problem solving events. You know, we've got to put some resources together and pull some people together. It's not handing them gifts. They need to step up and earn it. You know, Andrew, you clued in on it right there. Is the today's education needs to change a little bit.
It needs to change
There's
a
just
lot.
too
Yep.
much responsibility, and I'm not into coddling and enabling. I'm not doing it. So
Absolutely.
anyway,
Well,
I
thank
appreciate you, gentlemen.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
too. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for starting your week off with the Iron Insight, the Nova TIG torch and foot pedal upgraded package free of additional charge with $100 value in the Everlast link in the show notes. And Mr. Andrew,
And Southern Leather Works, go get your custom welding hood needs fulfilled. We are dropping custom belts of all sorts if you're looking to get a high quality belt. And we want to give a special shout out to Mr. Bob Moffatt for taking the time out of his day to join us on this podcast. Thank you, Bob.
thank
Absolutely,
you.
bet. Thank you.